What's up guys, my name is Ace, and today I wanted to have a recap of everything we know about Warzone 2 so far after the official reveal of Modern Warfare 2. And just to be clear at this point, we don't have a ton of information regarding Warzone 2. In fact, we don't even know what they're actually going to be calling it. All we know in regards to that is that it's going to be the next iteration of Warzone. But having said that, there's still a pretty decent list of information if you dig a little bit within the reveal, and that's why I wanted to create this recap video. Now, just a quick statement I want to make here. Any opinions that I share in this video, they are based on what we know so far. Of course, as we get more information, my opinions will be updated over time, and I can only really share my current opinions based on the current information available. And with that out of the way, the first thing I wanted to point out regarding Warzone 2 is we may have gotten a bit of a sneak peek at the Warzone map from the official reveal trailer for Modern Warfare 2. Now, this part hasn't been 100% confirmed to be the Warzone 2 map or a section of the Warzone 2 map, but there is a lot of speculation going around that this is a section of the map, especially this one part where they clearly show off High Rise from Modern Warfare 2. This has been long rumored to be part of the Warzone map, and now we see it for ourselves in the reveal trailer, so yeah, it seems pretty likely that this is at least a section of the Warzone map. But aside from that, let's get into the actual information that we got regarding Warzone 2. The first thing is directly from the Call of Duty blog post, and with this, they clearly stated that Warzone 2.0 will feature new Modern Warfare 2 content and systems with brand new progression and inventories. So this is official confirmation that we're having a completely different progression system in Warzone 2 that's not going to be connected to Warzone 1. And also, our inventories aren't going to be carrying over, and what this means is we're starting from scratch with a new set of weapons, perks, equipment, all that kind of stuff is starting from scratch with this. It's not being carried over from Warzone 1, and this includes any of the bundles that you bought. So any of those cosmetics you bought for Warzone 1, you won't have access to those in Warzone 2. And this may seem incredibly obvious to a lot of people. It seems very obvious to me, but there were a lot of people in the Warzone community that were hoping and even expecting inventories to carry over from Warzone 1 to Warzone 2, and that's not going to be the case. And personally, I'm really happy to see this, even though I'm not surprised to see this. I feel like one of the big problems that Warzone is currently facing is way too much content bloat, especially when it comes to the weapons. It is so overwhelming looking at your weapon selection in that game. So it's nice to see that they're going to start from scratch, and we're going to start with a smaller weapon pool that I'm sure will be expanding over time as newer Call of Duties launch. Additionally, we did get confirmation of the platforms that Warzone 2 will be available on. And this is something that was a little bit up in the air. There were a lot of questions regarding whether or not Warzone 2 would be available on the previous gen consoles, so PlayStation 4 and Xbox One. And once again, in that blog post, they confirmed that Modern Warfare 2 is going to be releasing on old gen consoles, and then just after that statement, they said Warzone 2 is scheduled for release later this year on the same platforms. So this does confirm that Warzone 2 will be available on PS4 as well as Xbox One. And some people may find that a little bit surprising and maybe even disappointing, because in making Warzone 2 available on those platforms, there is the concern that those platforms are going to hold it back from being as good as it could possibly be. And I definitely understand those concerns, but at the same time, at this point, the majority of console players are still on that generation of console, and in many regions, it can be hard to get your hands on a new generation console still. So I'm not particularly surprised by this. I just hope that those consoles don't really hold Warzone back from being the best that it can be. After that, they also confirmed that for both Modern Warfare 2 as well as Warzone 2, Ricochet anti-cheat will be in the game at launch. So it's not something that's going to launch down the road like we saw with Call of Duty Vanguard, for instance. It will be there at launch. After that, we did get some pretty promising information for the future of Warzone 2 when the next Call of Duty launches, which at this point is expected to be Treyarch's game launching in 2024, not 2023. And this is more of a general statement for the franchise as a whole, but it should lead to a much more seamless integration. And this is, there's going to be one unified engine across the entire franchise, starting with Modern Warfare 2. So this means Treyarch's next Call of Duty game will be using this engine, or they might branch off of it slightly. I suspect they'll want to bring their own unique feel and features to their game as well, at least to some degree. But for the most part, at least, everything should be quite unified there. And this should lead to a much more seamless integration once that game comes around, and will presumably be integrated into Warzone. This is especially great news because when we look back to Treyarch's last title and how they integrated that into Warzone, this is Cold War, it was a little bit strange and jarring because the movement mechanics and the general look and feel was totally different between those games. So if you played both Warzone as well as Cold War, you really had to adjust every time you switched from one to the other because they had an inherently different feel to them. Whereas for Warzone 2, it seems like they're really going to try to keep everything as unified as possible, so there's less of an adjustment period when swapping between multiplayer and Warzone. Now, one final Warzone-specific piece of information that we got with this reveal is Warzone 2 is going to be released not alongside Modern Warfare 2. It will be released after Modern Warfare 2, but before the end of 2022. So my guess is it'll probably launch with like the start of Season 1 for Modern Warfare 2, perhaps in like later November or more likely sometime in December. And this is one thing that I'm personally very disappointed to see. And it might seem kind of strange, like why would you want the game to not come out as soon as possible so you can get your hands on it and play it? So let me just explain myself a little bit here. I'm a Call of Duty player, I love Call of Duty, and I especially love Call of Duty's regular multiplayer experience. And over the past 3 years, Warzone has really taken the spotlight away from that standard multiplayer Call of Duty experience. And this time around, I was really hoping they were going to give Modern Warfare 2's multiplayer some room to breathe before launching Warzone 2. And with Warzone 2 now confirmed to be launching before the end of 2022, I worry that that early initial hype for Modern Warfare 2's multiplayer is going to be immediately shifted in the direction of Warzone 2. And as a multiplayer fan, I was hoping we'd have a bit more time with Modern Warfare 2 in the spotlight. My big hope was that Warzone 2 would be launching sometime in like February or March of 2023, rather than late 2022. Now, I am still holding out hope that Modern Warfare 2's multiplayer will end up being good and polished enough that it won't suffer the same fate as Cold War or Vanguard, for instance, the moment that Warzone integration hit and those games just sort of fell off the planet, it seemed like, at least when it came to online popularity. So I hope I'm wrong with this. I hope Modern Warfare 2 is good enough to stand on its own alongside Warzone without Warzone just completely overshadowing it. But I have to admit, I am a little bit nervous about that release timeline for Warzone 2. And with that, that's pretty much it when it comes to the really Warzone-specific news that we got. However, I also want to remind you that a lot of the stuff I talked about several days ago that were general mechanics that are applying to Modern Warfare 2, they are also going to be applying to Warzone 2. So just a quick recap of that. Some of the things I mentioned are new vehicle mechanics, like the ability to shoot out tires on vehicles, and that will slow them down and affect how they handle. So if you shoot out the left front tire, it's going to pull hard to the left while slowing down, but you can get out of the vehicle and repair those tires also. So that sounds like a very interesting mechanic I'm actually quite excited for in Warzone. Also, even as the driver of a vehicle, you can lean out the window and shoot at enemy players. However, you won't be able to steer while doing that, so there's a trade-off there. Also, they talked a little bit about a new helicopter that's going to be introduced that's more of a transport-style helicopter that the pilot can even get out of the pilot's seat and the helicopter will just automatically hover, and you can walk around in the back of this helicopter and even shoot down on players that are on the ground. Additionally, we're going to be seeing swimming and boats integrated into Warzone 2, which I think is a great step forward compared to Warzone 1. That's something I really miss from the blackout days of playing Call of Duty Battle Royale. And another thing that they mentioned in the behind-the-scenes media presentation is AI. This is actually a big focus, apparently. They've really been working on their AI in the game to make them perform a little bit more realistically and make them look a lot more like they were trained properly for a tactical environment. And based on leaks, it looks like this AI is mainly going to be focused around certain strongholds around the map in Warzone. Now, we are getting into leak territory here. This isn't confirmed information, but this appears to be how they're going to be integrating AI into the Warzone experience. So it's kind of similar to Fortnite, where certain areas of the map are going to have AI soldiers defending it, but in those areas, you're going to have very high value loot. And another little tidbit of information we got from that presentation that I was quite surprised to see is they were at least playtesting with up to 300 AI on the map at any given time, alongside 100 real players. Now, I don't know if that's going to be an actual value we see in Warzone 2. I just wanted to mention that they told us in the presentation that they had the game running with that many AI on the map, which does sound pretty impressive. And with that, that's going to wrap it up for everything we know so far about Warzone 2. However, there's still some very big questions that I'm sure a lot of you guys have already commented down below before getting to this point in the video. And these are big questions that are unanswered at this point. We still don't know what's going on with FOV sliders for console players, although my assumption with this is at least for the newer generation of consoles, PS5 as well as Xbox Series X, I would assume we're going to be getting an FOV slider on those, since Raven and Call of Duty and Infinity Ward are well aware of the demands for an FOV slider for Warzone. But the primary concern here is for the previous gen consoles. We don't know if they're going to have FOV, and that's a big question that's currently up in the air that hasn't been answered yet. Additionally, another big question is we don't know what client Warzone 2 is going to be running on. We don't know if it's going to be connected directly to Modern Warfare 2, so if you want to play Warzone, you have to launch Modern Warfare 2 in order to get to that, or if it's going to have its own separate launcher, especially for console players I'm talking about here. And then finally, we still don't have any information regarding the progression system that's going to be used in Warzone. All we know is it's going to be a new and different progression system compared to Warzone 1, but we don't know what this progression system is going to look like, and I'm very interested to see what direction they go in when it comes to this. But with that, that's going to wrap it up for today's video, and this is where I want to hear from you guys in the comment section below. What are you thinking about all of the Warzone news and information that we've got so far for Warzone 2? Is there anything in this that you're really excited about? Maybe some things you're a bit nervous or apprehensive about? Just let me know all of those thoughts down below. If you enjoyed the video, a like rating is always appreciated, and don't forget to subscribe for more if you haven't already. I'll talk to you guys next time.